must know, must understand that we all are born and we all are destined to suffer the same fate. And that is the unavoidable picture. Be it sinner or a saint, be it woman or a man, be it Indian or a foreigner, whoever he is or she is, human being is on earth to live a limited amount of life, time span. And there are a lot and lot of diversities. More importantly, every human being is imbued with series of joy and miseries, series of difficulties and congenial incidences and surroundings. They are all already with different types of justice, injustice, and so many things. Now, in this bizarre symphony of human life, the problem starts not when we are enjoying, when we are very much satisfied. It starts when we really suffer. The suffering is the real point when we start our struggle of existence. We struggle to exist. Now, this suffering that only gives rise to scientists, gives rise to leaders, gives rise to reformers, gives rise to all sorts of things, even up to the spiritual giants. They're all for scientists, all sorts of, they are all trying to solve the problem of life. The problem is the main thing. Human existence and its problem, they gives rise to this type of thinkers. Now, when the problem is for human being, and more importantly, which are correctable problems. And another important factor, which problems are created by human beings, for the human beings. So these areas are very important areas which we should be working upon, because this can be removed. Suppose a problem in the nature, it may be predictable, may not be predictable, may be removed, may not be removed in the direct way. But in indirect way, we try to remove the sufferings. So these sufferings gives rise to all sorts of questions and quests. Swami Vivekananda, as you all know, he was so to say, a superman of spirituality, superman of human problems. And that superhuman power he had, that gave us a light of knowledge and prudence and wisdom through which we can have a lot of light to solve these problems, sufferings. As you know, in our scriptures also it is said, dukkhatraya vihata jignasa. So we come to the question of life, how when you are encountered by dukkha, the sufferings. Same in the Buddhistic philosophy, all the philosophies. Now, human right is important because human life is having tremendous amount of problems since its inception. It's torture, deprivation, and so many things. But one thing we must understand, to solve the problem, we must understand the problem first. If we don't understand the problem of human suffering, then every now and then we'll go on coining new and new rules. New and new types of human torture will come, and new rules will come. They are welcome. Certainly they are welcome. But if we understand the real gamut of the problem, then we'll be in a much better position to solve the problem in a holistic, which will be having their own particular components. So Swami Vivekananda, we can say a Rishi, what is called the Narendra, the king of the Naras, the king of the human being. What is the problem he first solved? Like all other great persons, he also was tremendously moved by the suffering of people. So much so that he became, we used to call, a seismograph of human suffering, as if all the human hearts are connected with his own heart. One incident we find in Belur Math, while he was sleeping in the night, suddenly in the night time, dead of the night, he woke up and was strolling with pain. So when he was asked what is there, then he said, I am feeling tremendous amount of pain. So somewhere in the earth, somewhere in the world, maybe there are a lot of people suffering together. So next day, a big news of earthquake in some portion of the world was reported. At the same time, when Swami Vivekananda felt the pain. So this is the feeling of the human pain. Swamiji says, do you feel it? Have you felt the problem and the pain of people? Have this pain and problem has taken your sleep, taken your leisure, taken your rest and peace of mind? Have your head is circling for that? Are you completely almost mad? Then you're in the first step to solve the problem. Then have you come out with any solution? Have you thought which can be done? Then you are in the second step. Next, have you grafted? Have you drafted any line of solution? How can you do it? Line of action. So each step is important to become a proper and right humanitarian person who can be really authorized to give the task of violating the human rights. Now, what is more important is in human rights, when people will claim their right as human being, there is one very important point run side by side is what is human responsibility. A responsibility only can speak of a right. Otherwise, you cannot claim a right when you yourself are irresponsible. So what, as we say always, charity begins at home. So the humanity begins at home. And that humanity will always legitimately, as if legitimately claim a human right. Number one. So this is a responsibility. But more importantly, we must know the human nature. Is it a being just born and dead and just having some basic needs and we are going on fulfilling the needs? Is it all of human being? If we are not aware of the real nature of human being, then perhaps we will be treating human being only as an organism. It's no good, no bad to treat, no bad to serve the basic things. But if we fail to understand the real form of human being, real potential of human being, then we will perhaps not do the right thing. And neither the persons who are being served, so to say, they also will not be accepting the service. It is the totality of the civilization, this totality of the civilizational thing. So you will find in our in responsibilities, there will be one important point always there. We need to cherish and follow the noble ideas. Cherishing the noble ideals. A man may not be born with all ideals perfected or all ideals kept in front of him. So this nobility comes in between. As Swamiji says, I am the worshipper of the only God, one God. By mistake, people call them man. To Swami Vivekananda, man was only God for him. He says, I don't know any other God other than the summation of whole human being on the universe. So he used to believe in a divine and a potentially divine being. And that was his aim to serve. He aimed to serve that. So if it's more than an organism or it's a divine thing, then our care, our vision, our responsibilities go much more higher. That is a very fundamental thing that we must understand the human being first. And in small one word, he says one very nice thing about the rights, that why don't you give the freedom to others what you yourself want to enjoy? So the tremendous amount of bloodshed, the tremendous amount of power hankering, the all sorts of crises, democracy, autocracy, all these crises and all these things have always ruled over the world because they don't believe human being as divine, both as their own selves and others.